What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Cowbell Kingdom Basketball Zone YouTube channel's post-game show. I'm your host, Vince Miracle, and I couldn't do this debut of Domantas Sabonis alone. I got my boy Ty with me. Ty, bro, how you feeling, my man? How you feeling after a win? A win, bro.
Hey, man, for the entire NBA media, for everybody that was shitting on the Kings, man, come on. You guys saw it tonight. Davion Fox played with the best player to come to Sacramento in arguably the last decade, and y'all want to be mad? I can't be mad at the Kings W, man.
Hey, bro, look, it was one of those games where I don't know if I had been so excited to see the Kings play. Like, I literally had, like, anticipation. I'm not even going to lie. I called Leo, and I was like, bro, make sure you're going to this game. You're going to this game. He's like, yeah, I'll be there. Because I wanted to make sure we had the coverage on it. And on top of that, I want someone there to just talk about it, right? So, I've never had so much energy. How did it feel, like, the angst getting into this game, knowing that this was about to happen?
So I was actually watching this game with my girlfriend, and we had gone to the Kings-Warriors game at Chase Center on about a week ago, and it was so deflating. You know, this team, it was really demoralizing seeing us go up and down the floor, playing no defense, unforced turnovers, and just to see the open looks. I was hitting up the group chat, like the Kings actually running a fast break, the Kings actually passing the ball. It was like crazy to see. It almost seemed like night and day, and I don't want to seem like a casual fan overreacting over one game, but how can you be mad when you had to add a 25 and 11 guy, and he does it without one freaking practice? Like, if that doesn't go to
A
show what the
practice?
type of
What
potential that's supposed.
practice? What practice, bro?
What would you
They didn't even practice. There was no practice. They that was warm
exactly?
up. Practice was warm up. Practice was scrimmage and sitting in front of a computer and then getting up your jump shots. Like, there was no real practice that was, coming out at that point. So yeah, it was insane. So for those who don't know, the Sacramento Kings did win 132 to 119. I mean, you saw the headline. We all know why you're here. But let's go ahead and go down this box score a little bit before we start taking these fan questions, because I'm excited to see the reaction to a lot of these people. I want to see if fans still feel like the Kings made the wrong move, or if they start seeing what I've been saying, which is this is a 1-2 combo that you can build around. Like, this is a core. So let's go ahead and start with the main guy, Domantas Sabonis. He plays 32 minutes off the airplane, 22 points, 14 rebounds, 5 assists. Ty, what was your biggest takeaway from Domantas Sabonis' debut?
As much as a lot of people are going to talk about Domantas Sabonis passing, and he said even in the post game, passing is contagious. It makes the game fun. I think one thing that really stuck out to me tonight was the rebounding. He was on the boards, seeing him get second chance points. And as much as I love Rashawn Holmes, that undersized, it limits him. So I think at the end of the day, seeing someone crash the boards, a lot of people were talking about, Sabonis is a very underrated strength player. This guy's strong. He was muscling guys like Naz Reid, Jared Vanderbilt, and he was getting in the paint. I think seeing somebody on the interior being able to, have that trust in and get those rebounds, it was really liberating. And, obviously the passing was great, and, it was very infectious. You got to see, multiple passes. I think we had 32 assists tonight. I don't even think the Kings had 32 assists the last two games combined. So Domantas Sabonis, man, what a great Sacramento debut. And I think a lot of NBA media is going to be eating their words sooner than later.
Look, man, for me, I thought Sabonis was exactly what I needed him to be. I needed people to see what I've been preaching when I saw this deal go through. This is a guy that he facilitates the offense without even having the basketball in his hands. There are moments in the fourth quarter where De'Aaron Fox has the basketball and Sabonis is about to come up and set up a screen, and he waves Davion off just to let him know, like, hey, it's time to move. It's time to separate out a little bit. And man, I thought just seeing those little bits and pieces of them working together, as well as him being a leader, him screaming, and then building that bond was very key. On top of the fact that Sabonis seemed to really want to make a connection with Fox right away. It seemed like that was the one thing that was apparent. The high screens, the ability to get the give and go. But what I didn't expect, and I want to move on to this player, just because I don't think he's going to get enough love, and we're going to have to go on to the next one. But Harrison Barnes today, 30 points, 8 rebounds, but get this, Ty, on 8 of 11 shooting, 75% from the field. You're not going to get
Hey,
that on most nights from Harrison Barnes, but does this, in your mind, seeing this type of performance, make you say, okay, Barnes has to stay? Barnes has to stay. This makes sense for him to stay.
uh, this is a really tough decision because it almost seemed like we're watching Golden State Harrison Barnes just like today. You know what I mean? And so something that I've kind of expressed with Leo and over the previous podcasts is that with Harrison Barnes on paper, he does seem like that veteran guy that can go out there and give you about 18 points. But with that being said, I think you have to look at the bigger picture, and there has been several games, several what I mean, of just inconsistency out of Harrison Barnes. And so a game like tonight, it begs the question that, it's not a matter of whether or not Harrison Barnes can knock down open shots. It's more of a question of how much does Domantas Sabonis' playmaking open up that opportunity for Harrison Barnes, right? And so I think that, Harrison Barnes has been asked to do a lot over the past few seasons. And so seeing him be able to take a step back and not have to, create his own shot and just get open looks and knock it down, I think it definitely does pose a really conflicting question because if you really look at it, yesterday, Leo asked me the question as well, would you trade Harrison Barnes for a guy like Jeremy Grant? And now, after a night like this, it's a real tough question to answer. What do you think, Vince? Would you trade Harrison Barnes for Jeremy Grant?
No, I think you add a
No.
player of Jeremy Grant's caliber next to Harrison Barnes. Think of a Jeremy Grant, Harrison Barnes, Sabonis, a shooter. I guess it would be Justin Holiday, who I thought defensively played really well. And then, De'Aaron Fox as the starting point guard. That's the ideal lineup I have in my head. I just feel like the spacing that Barnes is able to bring just as that catch and shoot 3-point shooter as well as the aggressive rebounder. But I think now that he has a guy in Sabonis that draws in the defense, he gets to be that oh man, look over my shoulder, there's a cutting Harrison Barnes. And he gets to have those nice mid-range game, which we got to see a lot of last season, and we haven't seen much of this year, which I've been very disappointed about. Just saying that I've been wanting to see more post-up Harrison. I've been wanting to see the aggressive Harrison Barnes, and I feel like we got to see a little bit of that again tonight. And let's not forget, Barnes was known for a large portion of this, at least the beginning of this season, as he was our Mr. Consistent, right? That was the nickname we gave him on this show. Was, oh, Mr. Consistent Harrison Barnes. Oh, he did it again. The most consistent, the best 3-level scorer that this team has. I don't think you trade that away for a guy in Jeremy Grant who brings energy. He definitely needs the ball in his hands to score, where Barnes is more, again, catch, shoot, doesn't need to dribble too often. He plays within the flow of the offense. However, I do believe getting a player of Grant's caliber, that long, defensive, aggressive power forward, would be nice next to Harrison Barnes. I just don't believe that you need to have it where you trade away Harrison Barnes, in my opinion.
Yeah, most definitely. I think, anytime you can add talent without giving away too much talent is, the most ideal. I think that, a big question mark for the Kings now, especially post this trade, is, what are we going to do at that shooting guard position? I don't know if you want to segue to Davion Mitchell and the night that he had. What a great
Sure.
night. And, what a great string of games that he's been able to put together. I'm looking here at the box score, and what do you have? 18 points, 7 assists, and 7 rebounds. Hey, you can't get mad at a guy giving you that, especially after his in his first year. And so, this is a very interesting trade proposal. I don't want to seem like another casual Kings fan, but if the ball's still moving and there's
Wait, wait, wait,
still
wait, wait,
some loose.
wait. Save the trade, save the trade, save the trade. Let's get down the box score. We're gonna save the trades because the trade
All
deadline is
right.
tomorrow. I wanna be able to get through the box score, see if we can build up the chat a little bit because I am gonna try and get us to get some phone calls in here today, Ty. I want to see if we can talk to some people. So let's save it for just a little bit on the trade. So let's go ahead and let's talk about Davion because, like you said, 18 points. 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and I don't think people talked about this enough. Now that Halliburton's gone, as much as we've got to see Halliburton flourish with an extended usage, an extended amount of minutes, we've also got to see a little bit of Davion do the same thing, and people were really loving the tandem of both Halliburton and Mitchell together. And Sean Cunningham of ABC posted a picture of him about to do an interview of the two, of saying, the future is coming, or something is coming, and people thought that meant that's going to be the duo of the future. So are you guys now not believing in Davion Mitchell? Because I think after tonight you say, you know what, wow, a Fox-Mitchell combo still makes a lot of sense, and now you get to have real minutes for Davion Mitchell. But I'm going to ask you, Ty, what was your biggest takeaway from a game like this tonight from Davion Mitchell? What is it that you think you want to see more of from him after seeing a game like this going down the second half of this season?
Obviously, the big thing, he's known for his defense, known as off night, and so one, I want to credit him for basically shutting down D'Angelo Russell, who was having almost a career night the first 3 quarters, and I think he was held to about 0 points in the fourth quarter. A lot of people, really swept that under the rug, and so I think now we're also seeing the evolution of his game with more opportunity and being able to, have the ball in his hands, and so you see a guy like Davion Mitchell who can, you can kind of see turn into a Marcus Smart type player where, he's he can hit the round three ball, he can play some defense, and he can also facilitate, which is, a lot of attributes you want in a guy like that. I think Davion Mitchell, a lot of people, his biggest knock was one, his age, and also, what he can do on the offensive end, and also his size, right? I know he's not too tall, about like 6'1", and so seeing him being able to get into the paint, finish around bigs, and my favorite move of Davion Mitchell's is him being able to, snatch that ball back. I don't know how many times he was able to get D'Angelo Russell and the opposing Minnesota guards on that move, and so I think Davion Mitchell, he's a real bright spot. I think that, a lot of Kings fans are talking about one of our holes is add backup point guard. Vince, are you comfortable with Davion Mitchell being the backup point guard for this team moving forward?
I mean, yeah, I really do. I think that Davion Mitchell brings that type of talent to the team where it's, he can either be your defender. I feel like he just finds his groove within the offense, and he plays to exactly what the team needs him to be. Do you need me to lock down the guy that was your the opposing team's premier scorer? He never left D'Angelo Russell's hip every time he was in that game. Yeah. You applaud his defense for that. Mm-hmm. Oh, do you need me to be a catch and shoot 3-point shooter? Because down the stretch in the second half, his catch and shoot 3-point shooting was amazing. Do you need me to be an all-ball handler and use the pick and roll? Because then he started looking over, the bodies and finding Sabonis, trying to do the kickouts to Harrison. One of my favorite plays, and I broke it down in a tweet, was that same exact play I brought up earlier, which is Sabonis leading and literally directing the offense without having the ball in his hands so he can set the starting point guard in Fox a screen, which then led to a two-man game between Mitchell and Sabonis from where Sabonis moved Mitchell, and that led to a game-clinching three-pointer in the corner for a Harrison Barnes. And I think that type of facilitation, that type of, I believe that he plays high IQ basketball. And I said this as well earlier during the game, which is I feel like Mitchell plays very robotic, and I mean that in a complimentary way. He has his go-to moves, he does his moves, but he knows what works and what doesn't, and he doesn't ever try to do more than what he knows he's capable of doing. And so I think as a backup point guard, he is perfect. And he's good in that role of seeing 25 to potentially 30 minutes a night as a backup guard. Because at the 2-guard spot, I do believe they need to get shooting. And we'll talk about that when we get to the trade section of this show. But let's talk about the other guy that we need to bring up. And that's De'Aaron Fox. We have to talk about him if we're going to talk about Sabonis and everybody else's game, because I feel like he is the name that everyone says, we traded the wrong guard. We should have traded Fox. But I feel like they forget. So, look, tonight he plays 35 minutes, the second night of a back-to-back, and coming off of an ankle injury where, he missed a few games, right? He was hurt. And, there's a little theory going around that, they were showcasing Halliburton in that time. But we won't talk about that. 27 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, but here's a big one, Ty. 0 turnovers in that 37 minutes of action. What were your biggest takeaways from De'Aaron Fox's
Hey,
performance tonight?
today, Snoop Dogg acquired Death Row Records, and I know a lot of y'all forgot about Dre, but a lot of y'all forgot about Fox. Now, this guy has been on an absolute tear the last few games, having more than 25 plus points in the last few games, and he's a fringe all-star. As much as a lot of Kings fans like to be prisoners of the moment and talk about Tyrese Halliburton, I still love Tyrese Halliburton. De'Aaron Fox is a crazy talent. The fact that he can just get downhill, he's hitting floaters, he's drawing fouls, and you can even argue that he wasn't getting a lot of calls tonight. You know what I mean? With that being said, how many free throws did he get tonight? He still had 5 free throws, so decent, but nothing too crazy. And I think, one thing that he's been showcasing over the last few games is he can low-key knock down the three ball, 2 of 4 from the three-point line. And I think that, as much as I think that fans just optimistically look at numbers and think, that's the whole story. And I think that although Tyrese Halliburton was one of those guys that was super efficient, he wasn't one of those guys that was, really had to have the ball in his hands and become that primary scorer. So when you have that burden on you, when you have defenses keying on you like that, and De'Aaron Fox is still slicing and dicing, dude, Domantas Sabonis must be in heaven playing with a guy that's able to get downhill, being able to get him the ball, and vice versa, right? De'Aaron Fox must love finally having a big that he can pass it down to and, actually catch the ball, actually be patient around the rim and finish around the basket. So once again, Kings fans, y'all forgot about Fox. He's the real deal. He's been going crazy the last few games, and I don't see him stopping anytime soon.
Yeah, look, this is big for me. Like I feel like this is the type of player that you're wanting next to a speedy guard that no one can stop when he's moving downhill. And I brought this stat up earlier, and I want to just confirm that it's still the same, and it didn't change later in the game. But over his last 2 games, since reclaiming the on-ball point guard role, the guy has scored 6 3-pointers in his last 2 games. That's one thing that we didn't get to see. We didn't get to see a lot of shooting. And I think people forget the fact that throughout his entire basketball career, De'Aaron Fox has always played point guard. He has always had the ball in his hands. He has always been the guy that dictated the offense and was able to play both scorer and facilitator at the same time. And after 1 year of Tyrese Halliburton, they said, you know what? This guy is now going to be the starting point guard. We're now going to shift you to the shooting guard spot. A completely different position than what he's used to playing. He had to learn how to play as a off-ball shooter. He had to learn how to play as a slasher again. So I feel like he had to take on a whole new role, and it did have him struggle. But even with that said, on the season, he's back up to averaging over 21 points a game. He's at 21 points per game, almost 4 rebounds, 5 assists, and a little over a steal a game, right? While shooting 46% from the field. Remember those struggles early on where he was shooting like low 39%? We knew he was going to improve. But now that he's going to have the ball in his hands, you're going to see the same exact numbers that we probably saw last season. And I know that Leo brought it up during the post-game show yesterday or doing the podcast with Javi the other day, but look at a guy, and Ty, you and I are in the group chat. You saw the essay I wrote to you guys in the group chat because I was so tired of the frustration of the oh, we traded the wrong guard argument. I hate that argument. Oh, we traded the wrong guard because he wanted to be here. That's the only argument I hate. I mean, if you want to go X's and O's, that's fine, right? But my big thing is that it just Fox averaged almost the same exact stats that DeJounte Murray is averaging right now. And DeJounte Murray is an all-star this season, right? So DeJounte Murray, I believe, is averaging 19 points. I'm going to pull it up right now so I don't tell anybody a lie. DeJounte Murray is averaging 19 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists while shooting 45% from the field. That's what he's averaging this year, while on pace to win the same amount of games the Kings were winning during the time Fox had his career year last year as an almost all-star, where Fox averaged 25 points, 7 assists, and also 1.5 steals while shooting 47.7% from the field. Basically the same exact numbers. So I just feel like people are forgetting, like you said, they forgot about Fox. They forgot about how good he is when the ball is in his hands and how much he controls the pace. And now that you can have a guy that can move fast and then slow it down and give it to Sabonis, I mean, I feel like this is a tandem that you want to build around. Hold my receipts. Again, hold my receipts.
Yep.
This is what you want to build around, and the trade deadline is tomorrow. So, with that all said, I got to say my piece. I don't know if there's anything else you want to add to it there, Ty, but look, man, it's trade time, and I want to start seeing these comment sections here in a second. Let me know if you guys agree. Was this a good trade? Was this a bad trade? Are you guys still sad that Halliburton's gone, or are you happy now that you got to see what Sabonis can bring? Get ready to call on in. I'm going to add the link into the comment section. Well, Ty, give me your thoughts on Fox's game, and go ahead and reel off that trade that you had in mind.
Yeah, most definitely. Hey, I'm gonna have to call Leo up, call up some people, and we're gonna have to get some new merch that says "Forgot about Fox," because Kings fans forgot about Fox, man. This guy's certified. He's quick, gets up and down the floor, and I feel like he can basically do anything any other starting point guard can do in this league. And here we go, Vince. This is interesting, right? Where are the Kings weak right now? Right, we need a shooting guard, and we also need like a defensive big, right? And someone that can maybe potentially stretch the floor a little bit because Sabonis isn't known for his defensive prowess. This is a little crazy, and I know we talked about Davion Mitchell having a crazy good night, but I am a firm believer that this year's draft class isn't too crazy. So I'd low-key be more than happy to send out that first-round pick. Vince, would you do Davion Mitchell and our first-round pick to Houston for Eric Gordon and Christian Wood?
No, I don't feel like the price is that high. I don't think the price is
No
that high.
hesitation.
Yeah, no, the big thing for me on that deal is the Eric Gordon part of it and the fact that Christian Wood is also going to be a free agent. You don't want to have so much of your future, especially when you're going to have to pay the max to Sabonis to have a almost arguably going to get. I mean, he's going to get paid. Christian Wood's going to get paid. Everyone loves his upside, his potential. They basically compare him to Porzingis in a way. So we know he's going to get paid. You don't want to just lock that up right away. You want to be able to have someone that is going to get paid, but you get to build him, maybe do a 3-year deal after this. So right away for me, I say keep Davion. I think Davion as a backup point guard is legit. You want to see what he has. You already gave away a former number 12 pick. You don't want to give up now, it was a number 8 pick in Davion Mitchell. I think that's one where I it's an automatic no for me. You got any more? Because I got a ton for you, buddy. We can talk about it on this show.
Yeah, I don't. That's the only one that I had on my mind. Just to kind of speak to that to close this off with my rationale, it just kind of looked like for me, obviously like a win now move, acquiring a great shooting guard that can play defense and knock down the 3 ball. You could even argue that Eric Gordon is very similar to Buddy Hield, just a lot more efficient. And then I just think for me, it's just really tough, especially after tonight. Like, where does Rashawn Holmes really fit on this team at this point? And so, adding a guy like Christian Wood, another starter to this team that would be able to, knock down a couple open shots and plays, known for solid defense. I think, from top to bottom, if you look at that lineup, De'Aaron Fox, Eric Gordon, Harrison Barnes, Domantas Sabonis, and Christian Wood, you can't tell me that's not a playoff team.
It sounds good on paper. And I said this on my original post-game show that I did a little while ago on Twitter. I just don't know if the Kings are going to be capable of making that 10th seed. Even I know 2.5 games or 2 games doesn't sound bad. Like, it doesn't sound like a lot, right? But it is in NBA. In NBA terms, it really is a lot. And I just don't see the Kings making that type of move where, again, Eric Gordon, I would rather see him on like a team like the Bucks or something like that, not necessarily the Kings. I want the Kings to start having a young core of 25, maybe 28. I'll take a 31-year-old, but it has to be someone that's under contract for a short-term deal, maybe like a Harrison Barnes type of contract. So, and I said this in the chat. Actually, we have a few trades already in here too. Malik Monk, is that someone that you think the Kings should go after? Is Malik Monk?
For a minimum deal. Like I think what does like Malik Monk do significantly better than a Jeremy Lamb or a Terrence Davis? I feel like Jeremy Lamb and Terrence Davis are very similar players. I mean, Jeremy Lamb, we saw tonight get hot in the first quarter and then turn ice cold. So I don't know how much money I'd be willing to throw at Malik Monk. Do you even want him, and how much money would you even be willing to pay for him, Vince?
I mean, that's the thing. Like, I mean, with Malik Monk, my thing is what gets you him? Like, what is it? Is it Len? Is it like that type of big man? Because you're not going to give up a Harrison. You're not going to give up a Davion. I mean, you're not going to help out the Lakers in any way, and they're going to want something good in return, right? They're going to offer you Kendrick Nunn and Taylor Horton Tucker and Monk and maybe their 2027 first rounder. I don't know what that really does for me. So like you said, it would have to be a very small deal where it's like maybe you're a part of a 3-team deal that they're going in on, or they're trading Westbrook, maybe. And then that's the way you get it. But for me, I just, as much as it would be nice to see a reunion of those two, of Monk and Fox together in a backcourt, I just don't see it. But I keep bringing this trade up because I love this trade, so I'm ready to give this one to you. Harrison
Sure.
Barnes, Rashawn Holmes, Terrence Davis, and your 2024 first round pick. That's lottery protected, right? So if none of this works out,
Okay.
I mean, you're going to be in the lottery. At least you get to keep your pick, but you're giving up a first round pick regardless. And hopefully this trade makes you better. So again, the package that you would be giving away: Rashawn Holmes, Harrison Barnes, Terrence Davis, and the 2024 first round pick that is lottery protected. And in return, you reach out to Charlotte and you ask for Gordon Hayward, PJ Washington, and Book Knight. I think I think I think that is I think that's the deal in my opinion that you, because like think about it, on both sides it makes sense. To me, on both sides it makes sense. But what are your initial thoughts on that deal?
Hmm. My initial thoughts are I'm not sure if the Kings get like significantly better, just because I think that I messaged in our group chat earlier, like I do like Hayward in a Kings uniform. Does Hayward offer significantly more than Harrison Barnes at this point in his career? I mean, if we were getting Utah Gordon Hayward, then it'd be a yes any day. That first round pick is a little tough because I have been very interested in a PJ Washington. I think PJ Washington for Rashawn Holmes straight up would just be ideal, right? I think he fits our team better.
Contract
And
doesn't work though.
yeah, and then Charlotte would get a Rashawn Holmes, a guy that can run the floor. Just like you said, the trade doesn't work though. Book Night, where how do I really value Book Night? Because I think in my head I'm looking more so. I think Barnes and that first round pick are the obviously the main value pieces given away, and I think Rashawn Holmes and TD they're just kind of, I don't want to say throwaway pieces at this point, but they don't have as much value. So to be able to bring in not only Gordon Hayward but also a who am I blanking on right now, Book Night, and then PJ Washington, and give them that first round pick. Do I love Book Night? I mean, let me ask you this real quick, Vince. You taking Davion Mitchell over Book Night still?
Yeah, I'm still taking Davion over Book Knight. I'm still taking Davion over Book Knight.
And Book Night would be our starting shooting guard. Is that kind of where you're going to insert him?
I mean, I still like Justin Holiday as that starting guard. I mean, I've never been one of those guys that believed if you're a starter, you're the guy. I mean, I think there's a lot of flexibility in having just a solid role player and needing whatever you. I would rather, here, I'll put it to you this way. I would rather have the idea of being able to be flexible at the shooting guard spot than being flexible at the forwards and center positions, just because you don't want to be like, oh, I'm starting Alex Len because we're going up against Nikola Jokic. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and then go back to Rashawn Holmes, or like, and have that type of rotation where I'm okay if you're like, hey, I'm gonna start Book Night because I want to be able to go space and threes, and then I'll go back to Justin Holiday, space and threes, and I just feel like Holiday would be your primary starter, but whoever gets hot between those guys is a lot easier to ride with, where you're gonna have Sabonis down low, you're gonna have Harrison Barnes and things like that. So that's my belief. But again, for me,
So
this is my argument for Hayward, because I know I see a lot of people hating on the Hayward idea. So for me, Hayward is this. Hayward is still a productive player, and if you look at the stats between both he and Barnes, they're essentially the same exact player this season. The only difference is that Barnes is a substantially better defender, in my opinion. Just by probably the metrics
Yeah.
say it too, but in my opinion, just substantially better defender. But away from that, Hayward's a better passer. I believe Hayward is also a better shooter, and I believe also Hayward has the ability to go off for in more games than Barnes does, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
I just feel like he brings that, and you add the additional year because Barnes is gone in 2 years. You add the additional year, you get one more year of Gordon Hayward, and yeah, he's injury prone, but at least he's still productive. But you get to land PJ Washington, and you get a nice young
Yeah.
prospect in Book Night. So it's a win now move while also being a production a later on move because you get nice young pieces in Washington and Book Night. So that's why I love that deal. I really do.
Yeah. I think after letting it simmer a little bit, I do agree with you. I would take that deal because I could see Book Knight, PJ Washington, and Hayward all being starters on this Kings team. I think if I look at it the other way in terms of Charlotte, I could see Barnes being a starter, Rashawn Holmes is a fringe starter, and then TD's definitely coming off the bench. Um, Obviously, I really like that first round pick is lottery protected. I do think that with the Kings benefiting, do you still do that trade if the pick is unprotected?
I mean, you'd have to really believe
The
Hayward. Now, I don't think so because Hayward's shown to be too injury prone. But that's just me. Like,
Yeah.
but the Kings are in win now mode, so
Mhm.
that's it. And Leo, bro, if you're watching, my phone died, man, so I can't text Ty. I texted you the link to join in the show. Ty, I think Leo's gonna join in with some content, so that because he
Yeah, no
just
worries.
got done interviewing the players and stuff. So call in, man. You guys can call in as well. I'll put the link back in so you guys can give me your guys' thoughts, opinions, and everything like that, and send in your trades because we got a few of them over here. So I'm gonna paste this real quick, and we'll go down this chat bar real quick here, Ty, because the chat bar is starting to roll in a little bit. I see a lot of Sabonis is better than Randall. Sabonis consistency and winning mindset alone trumps Randall. Matthew and Woods without giving up Mitchell would be a lot better. Give up 2 protected picks if you need to, and maybe a swap. So he's saying bet picks and basically just bet picks and see if that gets you a deal done. I don't know if Christian Woods again. I don't know if Christian Woods really going to be the answer for me though. That's just my personal opinion. Let's see.
I think for me the reason why I like Christian Wood a lot is because what other starting center is available in the league that we really can get. Like starting centers are lucky hard to come by, and so I think Christian Wood is more than a guy that you can just start. I think he does offer defensive intangibles, can shoot a little bit. It's just really hard to come by starting centers.
Let me ask you this: as the chat is like slowly, slowly loading for some reason for me, what's the
Mhm.
what's your idea on Metu? Like, are we okay with just saying like, is Metu like a trade piece? Is he just a bench asset? How did you like him today? Because I felt like he played pretty well. Again, I can't check his stats. Phone died and everything like that. And I'm trying to load up the chat here, but what are your initial thoughts on like Metu just being that guy instead of going after a PJ Washington or Jeremy Grant? Maybe it is Metu.
Metu really has me split because, especially the fact that he's almost like a Kings grown guy who's somebody that earned his minutes and is now actually being in the rotation. It's really difficult because I really don't know how other teams view him. I mean, tonight, what do you have? Like about like 14 points or something like that. Obviously, he can jump out the gym and give you putback dunks. I don't know if I'd say he's a great shooter, but can occasionally knock down the three ball. So it really begs the question on how other teams value him. I do think that, in my opinion, that the Kings kind of like he's more just so the guy that the Kings like. I don't know if other teams love, and in terms of the value he has around the league, I mean, I don't know if we can really get much back for a guy like Metu, and like it's just tough because rotation wise for the Kings, I mean, he kind of is a good like fill-in guy, but I don't know if he's a guy that you can really trust moving forward. I know he had 25 minutes tonight, but how comfortable do you feel with the Kings in a win now situation and really making that push? Matu being how confident are you in Matu being in our rotation really?
I'm not. I mean, I feel like you just need more shooting. I feel like he brings defense. He's a bench player to me, though. Like, he's still a very useful bench player. I mean, look at a guy like Jalen McDaniels or Jaden McDaniels. The McDaniels brother, both the Hornets and even the one tonight in the Timberwolves. They just fill a key role of having a high motor, and they can do a lot of things for you and can give you some spot starts. But I'm not 100% sure on him either. The deal that I saw was Damon Jones from Malik Monk. Would you do that?
Hey man, I like Davion Jones, and I'll be honest. Over this last few stretch of games, I almost like Davion Jones more than Rashawn Holmes in a lot of situations, just off of pure size. I think that Davion Jones.
Sheesh. That's a bold statement.
Hey, I
What?
think Hey, Davion Jones has had a good stretch of games. He's been able to knock down shots. I mean, dude, this guy has been dunking on people from time to time. And I think at the end of the day, the biggest knock on Rashawn Holmes is that size. Davion Jones is a certified 6'11", 7 feet, and like I think that he's a guy that has come in right at first. He was on that two-way contract, and now he's a guy that you can really see in the rotation. So I'm gonna be honest, like in a night like tonight where you're playing a guy against Karl Anthony Towns. Rashawn Holmes was getting ate up a little bit. I honestly would have liked a little bit more of those minutes going to Davion Jones. So to see it flip for a guy like Malik Monk, that I feel like would only cause more of a logjam in our backcourt with the Jeremy Lamb, TD's probably out for the rest of the season, and we already have Justin Holiday. I don't think I'd do it, bro. I'm really liking Davion Jones right now over Rashawn Holmes. What's your thoughts on that?
I find it interesting. I think I'm gonna wait. Uh, Here's another one. I think it's from the same person as well. Uh, I'm guessing Terrence Davis, Rashawn Holmes, the 2022 first round pick, 1 through 3 protected, a future first round pick swap to the Orlando Magic for Wendell Carter Jr. and Mo Wagner.
No way. Like the Chicago Bulls sold on Wendell Carter because he wasn't what he was gonna be. To give up 2 first-round picks, like dude, there should be no picks involved in that. Rashawn
No,
Holmes is like,
only one, and the other is a pick swap.
well, still, like you know what I mean. I don't even think it's worth the pick swap there either. I think that Wendell Carter, like he does, I feel like he doesn't move the needle. I honestly, hot take, I would take Mo Bamba in that deal over Wendell Carter. I like Mo Bamba. He's long.
Tripping, bro. You're tripping, bro. You ain't watching enough Orlando Magic basketball, bro. That is crazy.
He's
That
long. He's lanky. And just like I said, I wouldn't feel comfortable giving up whether the first round pick or the swap for a guy like Wendell Carter and with Mo Wagner. Oh my God, like Mo Wagner, bro. We have our own Mo Wagner and Alex Len. So I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you this right now. You are crazy, bro. It says let me in. Let me see. Let me in. Is it? It doesn't show that you're calling, big dog. It doesn't show that you're calling. I'm trying to let. I would let you in if it said you were calling. I would love to let you in, buddy. Let me in. If I could. He's all. I'm not trying to do it. I promise you. It ain't me. ECAM won't let you, bro. They don't want you in your own system. Call in on your phone, buddy.
Hey Leo, hey that boy Leo's on that Russell Westbrook. He's trying to get in the lineup, man. He's trying to get in the closing minutes.
He's like, just let me in the game, man. Just let me in the game. I want to talk about this team. I know Leo's so excited to talk about this team, cause him.
Yeah.
Hold on. There it is. There he is.
Wow.
Leo Bees, what's up,
Hey,
buddy?
I'm on there.
Are you on air? What's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
How you feeling after
Actually,
today's
got,
game?
Fox 40, right? We got Fox 40 Lindsay.
Hi.
Follow her
Hi.
on Twitter. She covers all of the Kings. And
Are we on a live podcast?
yeah.
Oh, what's up? Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
What'd you think about tonight?
It was great. I've only been in SAC for 3 months, but that was the loudest I have ever heard Golden.
Hey, that's saying something. That's the loudest it's ever been. Sabonis was a bona fide start tonight. We're in the elevator, about to go to the cars. So excuse the But yeah, man, it was just super refreshing. What was your
I add this man, and he goes into an elevator.
But I asked Alvin Jett, the dynamic passer,
Yeah.
that everybody else on that team wanted to make really cool cuts and cool passes, and I think you could tell 32 assists. It was really good.
32 assists, 72 points in the paint? That's big time production. Oh my gosh, we have to go down. Yeah, we have to go down.
This man went into an
Yeah,
elevator,
72
and
points in the
his
paint.
thing
I
is
asked
lagging for
Sabonis
me over here.
if obviously premature or not, but is it too early or not? If he and Fox could potentially be one of the better 1-2 punches in the NBA, and he says, yeah. So that's to me, that's awesome. You know, thoughts on that, Vince?
I mean, yeah, man, it sounds great. I wish I could hear you a little bit better. I don't think you should ever call someone when you're going into an elevator.
man,
Normally, most phone calls drop in that time.
Yeah.
That's just a helpful for him for later on down the road. But you know, it was awesome to see.
Is this the first one?
Yeah.
I want the second one. See you later.
I'm gonna put this man on mute for a second there. Ty, what were your thoughts on what he said?
Fox and Sabonis being one of the tougher 1-2. You know, Sabonis, after seeing what tonight was, after seeing what other Instagram accounts, Twitter accounts are saying about how much Sabonis has opened up this offense for us, I think I do agree. I think it is definitely possible. I don't want to be, you know, a super over optimistic fan being like, yo, like we're super crazy now. But I think that what Sabonis said was really true, that the passing was contagious. We got to see more swinging, you know, in one possession, the Kings do in 2 plus 2, 3, 4 possessions, you know? So whether, you know, I think, what was it, her name Stacy or whoever the Fox 40 girl was? Sorry, I forgot your name. But talking about the really cool passes and things like that, like that's something that's super infectious, you know what I mean? So I think that I would definitely love to have a third guy on this team outside of Harrison Barnes to add on to Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. But man, that the fact that we actually have a threat off of that pick and roll, it just opens up so much for the Kings offense.
All right, we got Leo back now. I'm gonna see if I can get him to join in again. Leo, buddy, you're out of an elevator. I can probably hear you now. What's up? Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right, so yeah, as we were saying, 72 points in the paint. You know, I asked Sabonis if he and Fox could potentially see themselves as one of the better 1-2 punches in the NBA. He said absolutely. The pick and roll is nasty. And I just love the response, my brother.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, the pick and roll was
Thoughts
nasty.
on that?
The pick and roll was nasty. It was one of my favorite things in the entire game. It's something that you and I both preached about this duo being what they could be. They could be the 1-2 punch that every point guard wants to see. I mean, every great 1-2 punch of a big man and a point guard has seemed to, I'm not going to say it always flourishes, but it always seems to develop in a promising way for the entire franchise. Like, say, for example, Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert, Jokic and Murray. I mean, I could probably think of more just later on down. Steve Nash and Dirk, you know what I mean? Steve and Amari. I mean, I don't want to keep going down the line of just a bunch of older players, but just even in today's game, a big man and a guard can still work together, even in a guards league. So I feel like people underestimate how good of a combination that could be. But Ty, now that we actually got to hear it more clearly, Leo coming in like Westbrook, just saying, "Let me in the game," and then doing a little turnover with the elevator pause. But What are your thoughts on that? Just the duo that could be Sabonis and Fox.
You know, you threw in a lot of great duos, whether it is, you know, Murray, Jokic, or Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. And so seeing De'Aaron Fox and Sabonis potentially being on that level definitely does show a lot of optimism for this franchise and where we can go. I think the only concern for me, the two concerns for me with Sabonis is, kind of being able to stretch the floor a little bit. I know that he can't shoot very well. He's a career 32% three-point shooter. But I think tonight he did a fairly good job on a guy like Karl Anthony Towns. I think I felt a lot more confident seeing Sabonis on Karl Anthony Towns as opposed to Rashawn Holmes. But once again, you know, I've said it before, I think that the Kings are just, you know, a couple more pieces away, maybe a solid head coach away from being, you know, a recognizable and, you know, somebody that you have to respect for playoff aspirations. I think that, you know, kind of segueing to that aspect of it,
real
seeing
quick,
where we can really reach this.
Real quick about Ty. I heard him
Go ahead.
disrespect our boy, our boy from the Magic, and then he praised Mo Bamba, which is just nuts. But
Thank you.
Wendell Carter's a
Mo,
hooper. We all know that.
Thank you.
Uh,
wow.
it's crazy. But on the note, on the note of Rashawn Holmes, real quick, it's super unfair when 3 new players show up 10 minutes before the game. You're showing them plays. Then he comes into the game. He gets substituted out like 2 minutes later. So let's wait and see. Potentially he could get traded. I think he will. But off the bench, like y'all saw what Sabonis can do in terms of passing the ball. That high-low action with Rashawn, it could work. Like it could work.
I mean, I definitely think it could work. I'm not saying it wouldn't. All I'm saying is that all I'm saying is that contract that Holmes is on, and knowing that Sabonis is going to be your guy down low, it's time to start building around that duo that is Fox and Sabonis. And it's obvious, it's still very apparent that the Kings needs more defense on the perimeter. They definitely are going to need to add shooting, especially with Buddy Hield now gone. So, and I already threw out my idea of the Hornets trade that I talked to you about earlier today, by the way. I got those pods. And then but now what about this one, guys? What about Rashawn Holmes possibly to Toronto for a Gary Trent Jr. deal?
That's not happening. I'll just put that out there. All my Raptors people would really laugh at that.
They need a center.
It's not happening, but that Hornets deal sounds real interesting, though. Like, I don't know what people have said about it, but if you give me a James Book night, I'm doing it. And I'm giving up a first-round pick, too, by the way.
I said a lottery-protected first in that deal, the 2024 lottery-protected first-round pick.
Yep.
Just because the Hayward injuries kind of scare me, and that seems to be like the biggest gripe in the chat is that Hayward is the biggest question mark in the deal. But I feel like you still take that gamble. Hayward is just as good as Barnes, except for just not defensively. It's obvious that defensively Barnes is better than Hayward, but everything else, it could lean Hayward's way.
But my God, Barnes will be optimized so nicely with Sabonis, man. Like, Barnes hasn't played with the big man of this caliber in so long, and you saw what he could do today. I think Barnes, will have like a career year pretty much in terms of efficiency, because you saw the combination today, the chemistry that they already have in like a few minutes. That was crazy to watch. It just shows you. It just comes to show when you have high basketball IQ like both of those guys do. It's just a pleasure to watch, man. I just love how he would cut weak side. Like, they're dialed in, and it's been like 10 minutes.
Yeah, dude, look, hey, Harrison Barnes shot 75% from the field today. He was 8 of 11 from the entire field on the game. He had 30 points and 8 rebounds. The guy was phenomenal, and I'm really excited to see how that turns out. But last trade I have for you guys, and I've probably told you guys this already. Actually, I have two more for you. Let's go with the easier one because we just played this team. It's the Minnesota Timberwolves. You offer them Mo Harkless, Alex Len, and Terrence Davis, and in return you get Malik Beasley. Are you doing that deal?
Done.
100%.
100%. Easy deal, right? Okay. Other one. Here's the other one. This one. What was that?
I was just saying, like, I feel like the Kings are just giving up pennies on the dollar there for a guy like Malik Beasley that I think is a pretty good role player.
Yeah, I mean, he's a role player. That's what it is, though. I mean, he's averaging, I think, 22 minutes per game on the season for the Wolves, and I think the Wolves just want to have more perimeter defense. And, again, you can sell them the idea on Mo Harkless. But the other one I have is a little bit bigger, and it goes to a team that is a little bit in flux right now and not knowing what they're going to do with their starting point guard. Or shooting guard, however you view them. But you reach out to the Brooklyn Nets and you say, hey, I see you need a center. Do you do Rashawn Holmes, Terrence Davis, Jamias Ramsey, and Robert Woodard, and you get back Joe Harris and Bruce Brown Jr.?
Oh, I'm taking that 100%. I would just be scared that Brooklyn doesn't really value Rashawn Holmes as the starting center for their championship contending team if moving forward. I don't know. I don't know if Brooklyn really sees Rashawn Holmes as a huge upgrade over Nicholas Claxton.
If they
But
don't,
yeah,
they're
obviously
crazy.
with the Kings, yeah, if the Kings could add shooting and Joe Harris, and I really love Bruce Brown. I think he's a guy that has that tenacity, has that motor, can really knock down the three ball and play defense. I think that's low key a shooting guard that I could definitely see even potentially getting more minutes. He might not be the starting shooting guard, but definitely being like a 6-man type role that is playing those minutes in the fourth quarter. But yeah, this Kings team needs shooting, and that would definitely answer that hole.
Before we head back into the chat section here, and we'll do like 10 more minutes of the show. That'll give us an even hour here, Ty, and then we'll wrap on up. But I know he said no to the Gary Trent Jr. trade, so let me go a little bit bigger.
All right.
What deal has to be made? Because this was the player that I said that is my dark horse that the Kings would land. I've been saying it since the offseason. Or at least since the Ben Simmons potential was there. I always thought that the Kings were going to land Pascal Siakam. Is there any way that deal gets done where maybe you do Rashawn Holmes, Harrison Barnes, Terrence Davis. I mean, they're going to need that shooting guard. The problem that I have with the deal and trying to find a way to making it work is they're going to need a shooting guard and not necessarily another small forward when they already have Scotty Barnes and OG Anunoby, unless you really believe OG Anunoby can play the two, which I don't. Or do you have to throw in a Davion Mitchell and move Freddie VanVleet to the two? And are you okay giving that up for the 28-year-old Pascal Siakam? But what are your thoughts on packaging a deal of Holmes and Barnes for Pascal Siakam?
I just feel like Toronto's just so bought in on their small ball lineup. A lot of in their wings, their positionless basketball, their switch basketball, and I think Pascal Siakam definitely fits their mold. On the Kings end, a Harrison Barnes plus Rashawn Holmes, that's pretty tough because I wouldn't say that Pascal Siakam is a better shooter than Harrison Barnes, and I think that just in terms of fit, Harrison Barnes would fit a little bit better on the Kings. I think the name of it definitely does sound great. But with that being said, to my initial point, I think the Raptors are just so bought into everybody on the floor being about 6'8", with the exception of Fred VanVleet, and then just being able to switch everything and play positionless basketball.
Look, guys, I want to hear from all of you guys in the chat section. We're going to go on for just a couple more minutes here. I want to get into your guys' thoughts. Call on in. First impressions of today's game. Very impressive as the Kings win 132-119 in Sacramento to defeat the Minnesota Timberwolves. Another one in the chat says, how about the Kings trade for Bobby Portis, Holmes, and Holiday? A lottery protected pick for Portis and White Dante DiVincenzo. Maybe the Bucks will bite because Holiday and also wants to play with his brother. Thoughts on that?
Did you guys see Bobby Portis against the Los Angeles Lakers? This dude turned into Kyle Korver, dude. He was knocking everything down. Bobby Portis is almost like the heart and soul of that team. And now I kind of see why. I thought that a big loss of the Bucks this offseason was PJ Tucker, and they obviously just decided to go forward with Bobby Portis over PJ Tucker. And honestly, I can't be mad at it. I think Bobby Portis is a guy that's able to play defense, knock down open shots, and as much as it would be ideal that they would want a Justin Holiday, the NBA is a business, and I think that Bobby Portis is their guy, and I don't think that's a realistic trade. Back to your Charlotte trade, though, Vince. I'm trying to look at it from the Hornets' perspective. Why would the Hornets want to take that trade?
It's a win-now move for the Hornets. That's why. They need a starting center. I mean, think about it like this. Their starting lineup would be LaMelo, Rozier, Barnes, Bridges, and Rashawn Holmes. They get to move at that nice, quick pace. Off the bench, you get to start utilizing Kelly Oubre as a number one option. You have Mason Plumlee as a facilitator while also still having a slicing and dicing Ish Smith. I mean, it really does give you when you get into the playoffs, you already know it's an 8-man rotation, 10 players max. It really just solidifies them as having a big man. The guards are going to play heavy minutes regardless. And you get more defense, and I think that's one thing that they're definitely missing is that defensive core. And again, you have a legit starting five now that gives you both offense and defense consistently. And again, it's a win now move with LaMelo Ball playing at an all-star level. I mean, he's an all-star this year. That's why.
That's interesting because I would disagree a little bit in terms of I don't know how much of a win now move it is. I don't know how much they value Rashawn Holmes over a Mason Plumlee. I think
They were going to
that
pay him
us
$16 million a year. That's how much they value him.
But they didn't though. You know
Because
what I mean?
they
And
got
so
a
I think
discount in Mason Plumlee, and Mason Plumlee has been horrible for them. They've had to see guys like Carey see minutes.
and well, then you lose another guy in Book Night, right? So whether or not you want to argue Gordon Hayward or Harrison Barnes, you can have it either other way. But I think that you lose, your perennial first round pick. You add a guy in Rashawn Holmes that could win now for you, but I don't know. Like I get it, Mason Plumlee hasn't been great for them, but I don't know if they'd be willing to part ways with that many players, shake up their roster just basically to fill in a guy like Rashawn Holmes.
I mean, Rashawn Holmes is locked in for the next 4 years at just $12 million, $10 million a year. I mean, he's on a great contract, and again, they were willing to pay him $16 million a year before they landed Mason Plumlee. And what was it, a trade? So, I think it makes sense. It solidifies their backcourt, having that center duo while still having Harrison Barnes. And you have McDaniels, who I think has played great. Cody Martin has been just a stud for them. So Ish Smith, Cody Martin, Kelly Oubre, and Mason Plumlee as your core off the bench. Again, you're going to have your guards play. I just feel like both sides get better, and they get 1 year less off of their $20 million contract that they have with Hayward, right? That's another big thing for them is they get cap space after next season. Harrison Barnes only has 1 more year on his deal after this, where they would have to have 2 more seasons of Gordon Hayward. And yeah, they give up Book Night, but they still get a pick this upcoming year. It's not like they gave up any draft assets. They actually gained one.
A protected pick.
Yeah, but they didn't have to give up any of their own picks other than Book Night, who they're not playing.
What is the deal with that? What's going on with Book Night over there in Charlotte? I know he had like one good game like a few months ago, but like, is Book Night just not a guy that they see?
He's not. He's a develop. Same thing with Kai Jones. They're developing. They're just young, developing players to them. They're in a win now mode. They're trying to win now. They see this window, and they're trying to develop LaMelo Ball, Terry Rose. I think if anyone's big willing to go, if they're not willing to trade Hayward, I think they're open to the idea of trading Terry Rozier to get another type of shooting guard. But I really feel like Terry Rozier is a nice fit next to LaMelo. So I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah.
Someone says, why not just keep this team the way it is and have a second unit with Davion Mitchell when he's healthy?
I'm gonna be honest, man. I just don't. I don't really like Rashawn Holmes in this lineup. I think that honestly we could use enough. You like Rashawn Holmes with this team?
I'm not gonna say I don't like him though. I feel like he makes sense. I feel like he's still a super sub. I'm okay with Rashawn Holmes in Sacramento. He's under contract. He's a great back. I've always said that he's a backup pick. I've never changed my mind on that. Even with his career year last year and why he got paid, I've never said he's the starting center. I've never said he starts on all these other teams. Leo's extremely high on him. I've said he's a really good super sub backup big. That's how I've always viewed him, and I think he could be that behind Sabonis and at times even play next to him if it needed to happen. So I'm okay with him. My view on him hasn't changed, but I do think he's one of your best trading chips under a great contract.
And I think that's kind of where I'm at with Rashawn Holmes. Like, yeah, he'd be a very stellar backup center, but I think that with him being one of our only last trade assets left, I would much rather chase a potential PJ Washington, potential guy out there that can, really lock down on defense and knock down the three ball. Because as much as I love that Rashawn Holmes push shot, that's not knocking down threes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This person said, "Hell no, Harris has been hasn't even been relevant. Maybe if Patty Mills is in the deal, but Harris showed himself in the playoffs." I think he's talking about my Nets trade, obviously with the Patty Mills, but I feel like Joe Harris makes sense on this team. I mean, it's for next season, and he's still under contract. I feel like you get the better version of Buddy Hield. He plays defense and he rebounds.
I don't know how much. I wouldn't say significantly better, but yeah, Buddy Hield did piss me off in the Kings uniform. So,
He's a
what's
smart
Joe Harris's contract?
$17 million a year.
But that's basically what shooters are going for around now, huh?
Yeah, I mean that's what I'm saying. I've never been mad at Buddy's contract. Buddy got paid what all the other shooters got paid, except that the Kings had to pay that premium because they're the Kings and they're in California and all that other good stuff that comes into trying to bring players to Sacramento. So I've always enjoyed. Or I've never. That's the wrong word. I've always understood his contract, but that never really bothered me. I just think Joe Harris is a high IQ basketball player, and he shoots that thing.
Yeah.
And I think he fits. He's perfect next to De'Aaron Fox.
I just think right now, especially giving up Buddy Hield, if you can bring in a top 5 shooter into Joe Harris, you most definitely want to welcome that. Where would you rank these 3 shooters, Vince, in order? Buddy Hield, Joe Harris, Duncan Robinson.
That's crazy. I guess it kind of depends. I mean, for their roles, I'd probably go Buddy, Duncan, and Joe. But I might even go. I think Buddy's the better shooter out of all of them. I'll just put it that way. I think Joe Harris is I would say Joe Harris is I think Joe Harris is a better shooter than Duncan Robinson. So I'm going to go Buddy, Joe, and then Duncan Robinson. And what are your thoughts on going after Duncan Robinson for the Heat? I think that's an idea, too. I don't know what you
Yeah, especially, with that Gabe Vincent guy developing dudes out there in Miami. I've heard Duncan Robinson's potentially on the table. But, man, I think what's hard for me is just that, I think it really comes down to fit in the system, and I think that Miami just gets the most out of their players. And I'm afraid that the Kings wouldn't be able to get the same Miami Duncan Robinson. You know what I mean?
So I heard this is more just speculation, but so my buddy who does the Heat podcast was talking about it, and he said that the Heat made a deal today for a Coppola. They made this trade so that they're capable of trading a first round pick, and there is the possibility that Duncan Robinson is on the table. I just feel like there could be something brewing. I feel like there's something brewing, and I don't know what it is. Don't know what it is. I don't know why Marcus Smart keeps popping up in my head. Is it Oladipo, Duncan in that first for Marcus Smart? Schroeder? I don't know. You know what I mean? These are little things that pop in my head, but I don't know. Don't know. Was Bagley even on the bench? I hope he gets shipped tomorrow. Bagley has to be in the dark horse of teams of this team for some time now. Realistically, what value can we get for him?
Bagley was on the bench tonight. He was wearing a black hoodie. I did see him. We've joked around that Bagley is a 3rd round pick value. It just sucks because
I've never heard that. That's funny. That's funny.
That's something we always joke around with me, Leo, and Javi, bro. We were like, yo, what can we get for Bagley, a 3rd round pick? I think Bagley's just one of those guys. I think right now his value is at a 2nd round pick, to be honest. If the Kings were to get anything valuable for him, I think we would have to pair another guy or another pick, potentially even a 1st round pick. Vince, you trade Marvin Bagley in this year's 1st round pick for Jeremy Grant?
Yes.
I think that could be a realistic option, right?
I think it is. I think it is a realistic option. From everything I've heard, the Pistons are interested in Marvin Bagley.
Mm-hmm. So, if we could do that, Bagley in a 1st rounder, then all of a sudden you have Fox, Sabonis, and Jeremy Grant for and if we're winning now and in a weak draft class, I don't hate that move.
Hey, you get Jeremy Grant, I'm not gonna be mad at it. I just there's this growing suspicion. I feel like that Grant's just gonna stay or he's gonna get traded to the Blazers. That's always been a good feeling. What about? Is there any way to get? Would you give up Bagley a 1st this year and a 2nd next year for Josh Hart?
No, I don't think Josh Hart is of that magnitude. I think I'd much rather have Jeremy Grant. As much as I do like Josh Hart, and I think he could be a key guy for the Kings, definitely like a 6-man type guy. I don't think they're even comparable in the same conversation. Not for a first round pick, at least.
I disagree. I think Josh Hart is a very, very, very serviceable too. Like I think his rebounding ability, his ability to pass the ball. Now he's such an improved passer this year. He's shooting above 50% from the field. He rebounds from the guard spot. His defense is really good. He's a stout defender. Him next to Fox. Oh, and his catch and shooting ability is nice. I would pay Bagley a first round this year and a second round next year for Josh Hart. And I think
crazy.
I think the Blazers would consider it.
I think the Blazers would consider it, but a first round pick for Josh Hart? Oh man.
Like you just said, it's a weak draft class, right?
Yeah, but still, first round pick's a first round pick, and so if you can get a guy like Jeremy Grant, man,
it's a win now move. We don't even know if the King. Do you trust the Kings drafting players? I mean, I guess you do with Monty McNair drafting Halliburton and Mitchell, but
there's 2 for 2, man.
He's 2 for 2. He's 2 for 2. Are you riding the wave? I mean, like when I say in my NBA picks videos, you riding the hot hand, or are you gonna hit that Dirk fade? I'm gonna hit that fade on this third one. It's gonna be a tougher class to find someone good, bro. How about getting Horford? You get a good veteran. Nah, that's a little too old.
No way. Not Horford, bro.
Robinson with Tucker. For what? I don't know. Oh, here it is. Robinson and Tucker for a lottery protected and whatever players needed for salary that's outside of the starters and Mitchell.
Well, why did the Heat do that though? Like, what can the Kings offer that are better than Duncan Robinson and PJ Tucker?
I mean, I don't know. They need that defense. They like the defense that PJ Tucker brings. I mean, that's not a starter. I mean, it would be Mo Harkless and Damian Jones or Metu and a protected first round. I mean, you can, look. I see that people hate. You're tripping if you think if any team is offering a first round pick for Josh Hart. I mean, I could be tripping. Look, bro, it's 11:40. I mean, I could be tripping. Lottery protected first this year, unprotected second next year. Sure, that's Marvin Bagley is really the big key piece for me. I would use Marvin Bagley as it, but I would go get Josh Hart. Josh Hart's a really good basketball player.
Something I want to bring up really quickly is obviously with the Kings trying to make a push for that 10th seed, I think it really does boil down to the Pelicans. I know they acquired C.J. McCollum. The real question mark is Zion Williamson. Do you think Zion Williamson ever returns to the Pelicans this year and really solidifies 10-9 seed, or do you think the door's open for the Kings?
I already said I don't even think the Kings need, or the Pelicans need Zion to make the play-in. I think Brandon Ingram's finally taken his game to that next level this season. I mean, we've seen him play at this level before, this all-star caliber level, but I feel like he's been coasting. I don't think he really ever believed that the Pelicans were going to be in a play-in spot without Zion, but then they kept winning, and Jonas Valanciunas has been so good. Maybe we see him for the play-in, but I mean, we haven't heard any updates at all other than Zion went to Portland to go work out. Like, that's all we heard. We have no idea what he's going to do next. So, I don't know. I just don't think the Kings are capable of taking on those reins. But at the same time, they were able to make the bubble. And they were able to compete for the play-in that time. And last year they were competing again for that play-in spot. Now they're only 2 games back. And again, I think that's a lot compared to what a lot of people are trying to say it is. Like, 2 games doesn't sound like a lot in NBA games-wise. It's actually quite a bit. But again, it's capable, it's reachable. The Kings just have to keep being productive, and I think it comes down to this deadline. And I'm eager to go to sleep and wake up to 40 different messages of Woj saying this guy's been traded, because I think there's going to be some fireworks tomorrow. Who do you think, before we end out the show, I'm going to end it here, this is going to be the final topic. Who are you saying is for sure not a King by the end of tomorrow's deadline?
Hey, man. I want to thank this guy for giving the CK podcast a lot of content to talk about. You can look at all the podcasts from the last couple seasons, and this guy has been talked about in damn near every episode. Not in a positive way. Marvin Bagley, I'm sorry, but you will not be in a Kings uniform by the end of the deadline. You and your Walmart LeVar Ball dad can say sayonara, contract y'all ever want. Y'all gonna end up on a Detroit or some a Rockets team trying to be serviceable. But Bagley, you are Willie Cauley-Stein 2.0. Yeah, I said it.
Who's better, Willie Cauley-Stein or Marvin Bagley?
I honestly think that it's what do the people say? 1A, 1B. It's like 5A, 5B for me. I think I would honestly might take Willie Cauley-Stein just because he was more available than Bagley, and he didn't have those expectations. Number 2 pick.
I mean, he had expectations as the number 5 pick, though. I mean, it wasn't that far of a difference. I mean, I was still a big pick. I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty big on Willie Cauley-Stein, though. I liked Willie Cauley-Stein coming out of the draft. I thought he really was gonna be Tyson Chandler. I was juiced on Willie Cauley-Stein, was not juiced on Bagley. Yeah, I agree. I think Bagley is definitely gonna be gone after this deadline, whether it's for second round picks and nothing or combined for something else. Look, I don't think Terrence Davis is on the Kings past the deadline. I really don't. And I just have this weird feeling that, and I know that he can only be traded as an individual piece, and he had a good night tonight. I don't think Jeremy Lamb is on the Kings after the deadline tomorrow. So those are my picks is TD, Marvin Bagley, and Jeremy Lamb. Don't know what we're gonna get back. I mean, could Jeremy Lamb get you Malik Beasley?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
Hey, but that first round pick in Bagley might just get us Jeremy Grant though.
That would be the deal. Get PJ. I think you should get PJ Washington's cheaper version of Grant. Grant's gonna get paid. You get a little cheaper. But all right, Ty. Before I let you go, hey, let the fans know out there where they can find you online and what they can be expecting from you moving forward for the rest of the season.
Hey man, you guys can check me out on Instagram at Titanic, spelled the THAI, or Twitter at Ty_SayChow. And one last note, man. Hey, shout out Death Row Records. Because y'all forgot about Fox.
Y'all forgot about Fox. Put that on a t-shirt. Boy, I wanna see a Fox. I wanna see the Death Row Records with like Fox unveiling the cap. You know how they used to use the chair? Unveiling the cap, and it's Fox's freaking head right there. But yeah, man, I want to thank you guys all for listening. Thank Ty for joining me on this show today. My name is Vince Miracle. You guys can follow me on all social media platforms of @VM Center. If you guys haven't done so yet, what are you doing? Hit that subscribe button here for the Cowbell Kingdom Basketball Zone YouTube channel. Please do us a huge favor, man. Support the show. Hit that like button as we're providing you guys this great content here heading into the trade deadline day. We're going to have more content coming for you on that Thursday. I know we're probably going to have some breaking news pods and everything like that. Ty will probably join me on that one as well. Leo will be back again. I know you guys love that guy as well. Shout out Leo. Follow the site at Cowbell_Kingdom on all social media platforms. And until next time, y'all, peace.